Okay, so today we're going to be doing just a quick lesson on radians. I'm sorry I did it in class the other day, but my computer decided to crash when I recorded this. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of what we are doing. So radians is another way to measure an angle. It's kind of like similar to how we have inches, but then we have the metric system with centimeters. You're still measuring length. It's just there's two different ways to do it. So we are used to degrees, but we need these radians for certain formulas. So the first thing we want to do is convert degrees, which we're used to, into radians. So we're going to need these radian once again for certain formulas and depending on what we're doing. So to do this, we're always going to multiply. We're going to do the same step. Multiply by pi over 180. So just as a side note, there are 180 degrees in pi radians. So that's where those numbers came from. They didn't just come out of nowhere. So if we go around 180 degrees is pi radians, so that's why we use this name. So if I said, hey, can you convert 30 degrees into radians? You would say, yeah, I can do that. I'm going to multiply by pi over 180. So in that process, what happens is the degrees cancels out, and I'm left with 30 pi over 180. Okay, so that's not that bad. What we do want to do is we do want to reduce this fraction. So I'm actually going to grab my calculator and show you how I do this. So most of the ones are kind of similar to this. If you have a different calculator, feel free to ask about it. So I want to reduce, I'm not going to put the pi into the calculator. I really just want to reduce 30 over 180. So using this calculator and a lot of the TI similar ones, you're going to do 30. This one has this fraction button. It looks like a little ABC. When you do it, it gives that little fancy backwards L. That just means you're making it a fraction over 180. And when you do that and press enter, it's going to reduce it for you. So that little fraction button is going to be your friend when we're doing fractions in the future. So it comes out to 1 over 6. So I would say, oh, 30 over 180 is 1 over 6. And then that pi, I'm just going to put with my answer, and that would be your final answer. So I would say write those in terms of pi, and that's how you would keep it. So once again, degrees, you multiply by pi over 180. Once you get your fraction, you reduce it, but once again, use your calculator, and that would be your answer. So let's just try two more. So what if I said 110 degrees? You would say, okay, I can convert that. I'm going to multiply by pi over 180. Okay, the degree symbols cancel. I end up with 110 pi over 180. I want to reduce this, so I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to do 110, hit my fraction button, 180, and press enter. So that's my nice reduced fraction there. Once again, that means 11 over 18. So this would come out to 11 over 18. And once again, I'm just going to throw my pi back in to get my final answer. So let's try one more. Let's say I said 240 degrees. And I said convert that to a radian. He would say, okay, I'm going to multiply by pi over 180. So you see we're really doing the same exact step every time. It's just that original angle is different. Your degrees cancel. I end up with 240 pi over 180. I'm going to reduce this. I grab my calculator. Sorry, trying to do this in between periods. I'm going to get 240 over 180. Now here's what you're going to see happens. I get that. That means 1 and 1/3. It's a mixed number. We don't really like mixed numbers. They're kind of ugly and gross. So if you have a calculator like this, to get it back into just an improper fraction, if you just hit shift and then the fraction button again, it will just give it to you as an improper. So that will be 4 pi over 3. And that would be your final answer. So that's kind of one of the main things that we went over the other day when my computer was my arch nemesis. So that was one thing. So one other thing we went over is kind of doing that backwards. So these, we were starting with degrees and we were ending up with radian answers. We can also convert from radians into degrees. Okay. This is helpful because radians, we can't really necessarily even visualize what the heck they are. So we can do that with degrees. So sometimes you might be asked something about a radian and you're like, I'm not sure. You can always convert it back to degrees so you have a better understanding of what it actually means. Very similar to the last one, you're going to multiply by, it's not the same fraction, but it's very similar. You're going to flip what you had before. So you're going to multiply by 180 over pi. So once again, that pi and 180 come up a lot. So just as an example, if I gave you something in radians, let's say I said 2 pi over 3. Once again, I know this is a radian because there's no degree symbol. So that's why it's important to put degree symbols when you have them, because if there is not a degree symbol, it is a radian. I know we see pi's a lot. A pi doesn't necessarily make it a radian, so just as a heads up. So I'm going to multiply this by 180 over pi. What happens is the pi's cancel. So that's kind of nice. So I just go straight across. 2 times 180 is 360. On the bottom, we just have 3. And then you're just going to divide that out in your calculator, and your final answer would be 120 degrees. So once again, I can visualize where that is, that not so much. So sometimes converting to a degree is going to be helpful. So let's say I had, 5 pi over 3. Once again, I have no clue. So I'm going to multiply it by 180 over pi. What happens is the pi's cancel. I grab my calculator because I have no clue. And the numerator there, 5 times 180 is 900. We're going to divide that by 3. So my final answer in degrees would be 300. Please make sure there is a degree symbol with these answers. So that signifies that you did find a degree. So that's that. So let's just do one more, just kind of a wrap up. And that was the main thing that we went over in class. Let's do 7 pi over 8. Sorry, I'm kind of running out of room. I'm trying to squish it on there. So same idea. We're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel. 7 times 180, no clue. It comes out to 1260. And then I'm just going to divide that by 8. And it comes out to 157.5. So perfectly fine. Sometimes there will be little decimals there. And that would be your final answer. 157.5. Yep. Okay. So that's that. So that's your main idea for today, and for that class. Sorry. So two things. We're starting to talk about radians, so we will be building on this stuff, and converting is going to be an important part of that. So to convert from degrees into radians, you're going to multiply by pi over 180. We have to do that quite a bit when we have some of our formulas in the future. And then to convert from radians into degrees, you're going to multiply by 180 over pi. So you see a lot of those pi's and 180s in there. So if nothing else, you just write it down because you can use notes in the future, and then we'll refer back to that as we go. So please let me know if you have any questions. And that is that. Have a good day.